You know, Satan attacks everyone with what's common to every man. The scripture declares that he cannot attack you except with what's common to every man. And so you're not the only one facing a certain attack. It's always, he'll try to isolate people into saying, well, you know, I'm the only one. There's surely nobody else are facing this problem or facing this attack.
Yeah.
Well, yes, there is too.
Yeah.
And he also is trying to wear out the saints. Now, you know, we have to remember Satan only has so much he can do. He's not omnipotent. He works with demonic spirits, and they're the same ones that's always been here. And he just runs it down the same little rabbit trails all the time. But if he can make you think that this is unique to you, then he can beat you. And you know, and I was thinking about this, and I want you to listen to something, how people can really guard against. You know, Satan is remember the little song, he's a sly old fox. If I could take him, I'd put him in a box. You remember that little song?
I don't know that I knew that one, but I love it already.
Yeah, that devil's a sly old fox. If I could catch him, I'd put him in a box, lock the box, and throw away the key for all the dirty tricks he played on me. That was a kid's song, you know. But it's true. Now, I want you to listen to this. He's very deceptive. This is out of Galatians 5, and it says here in verse 22, but the fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, long-suffering, gentleness, goodness, faith, meekness, temperance. Against such there is no law. Now, there's 9 fruit mentioned there. It's the fruit of the Spirit, but 9 manifestations of it. Now, here's what people need to understand. Where the devil will get you the most, where you can't defend an attack. See, let me go ahead and say this, since this is an intelligence briefing. You need to know how your enemy does this.
Yeah.
There can be a believer standing there, sitting there, and then the most ungodly, awful, decrepit thought come through their minds.
Yeah.
And their first response is this: where did that come from?
Yeah, that was
Where did that come from? I don't watch anything like that. I don't listen to anything like that. And if he can get you focused in on that for any length of time, you'll walk around doing this. Now, I'm just going to be very real with people here. You've ever watched people walk around and do this? It'll finally get so heavy in their thinking, they're trying to shake that thought out of their mind. They'll catch themselves shaking their head.
Wow.
Shaking their head like that.
Get it out
and
of
then,
there.
Yeah, trying to shake it out of their head, and you'll find them starting to get frustrated. He's wearing you out. And the next thing you know, you'll rebuke it 1,500 times before the day's over. And you didn't have any faith in the first rebuke, or it would have happened. So here is the deal. So what happens is this. You have to remember he's rendering you powerless and helpless to fight him in the spirit. And how he does this is this. For example, inside you is the manifestations of the fruit of the Spirit, 9 of them: love, joy, peace, and so on. It's in your spirit. Now, if we take love and put it up here, say we've got love up here. Now, the opposite of love would be hate. All right. Now, Jesus said, "I'm the vine; you are the branches." So, where does the fruit grow on? It grows on the branches.
Right.
So it's your regenerated, recreated human born-again spirit that's producing this fruit. And God is doing that through your spirit. So now watch this. So you have love and you have hate. Now, if you've been saved any while at all, he's not going to get you in hate because you can see through that. But he'll get you in a byproduct of love. The byproduct of love is happiness, or I should say desire. It's desire.
Oh, really? Okay.
See, you've got love, and you start going down the gradient to hate, and the shadow of love is desire. And so you've got love, desire, and hate. Well, you're not going to go to hate, so he just wants to get you in desire and make you think it's love. If he can do that, You're fighting him from a place of emotion, not a place of the spirit. So now we go to the next one, joy. Joy is not happiness. Happiness is a byproduct of joy. Let's just say you've got joy, and then on the other end, you've got depression. They're opposite. So what is the shadow of the fruit of joy? It would be happiness. And happiness is based on feelings, not on a spiritual force.
Oh, okay.
So now we come to peace. Okay, peace. What's the opposite of peace? Turmoil. So what would be the byproduct of peace? Well, you say it all the time. I just want some peace and
Rest.
quiet.
Oh, quiet. Yeah.
So quietness. And if he can make you think that desire, happiness, and quietness is you're living in the spiritual realm of love, joy, and peace, then he'll beat you every time.
Wow.
He'll beat you every time. He knows he can't get you on the opposite end, so he just wants you in the middle here where there is no power. There's just, you'll confuse it with the spiritual forces. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah. I'd never thought of it that way. So you're taking the sort of the byproduct of the gift.
Yes.
And if
of the fruit, yeah.
And if he gets you in that in an unsanctioned, it's not, the byproduct isn't a bad thing, except if you take it the wrong direction, right?
Yeah, if he convinces you that you're in the spirit, but you're actually in the byproduct of the spirit, then you're fighting from a place of the flesh. You're fighting from a place of the soulish realm. You're fighting from this place, and you have no resistance because you're just in desire. You think it's love. You're just in happiness. You think it's joy. You're just in quietness, and you think it's peace. And it goes all the way down the line.
Wow.
And so you're just out of the spirit realm, and so you can't resist. The Bible said, resist the devil and he will flee from you, as in terror. So if he hasn't fled from you, then you haven't resisted him yet. You have to resist him in the spirit. Then you won't fulfill the lust of the flesh. The obvious question is going to be,
and you can, in whatever order you want to say it, but the obvious question is, what does that look like? How does that feel? How do I do that, right? That's obviously, I hope you're going there.
Yeah.
But if you're not, I want that answer,
okay, we'll just take one of the fruit of the Spirit, at least right here.
Sure.
But I think everybody can see Satan's very, very cunning. And he knows he can't get you in hate and depression. And he knows you'll recognize this.
Yeah, for sure.
You'll recognize that. But you'll never recognize a lot of times desire, especially if they're not bad.
Yeah.
And then you'll recognize, happiness. Well, I'm happy. And aren't I joyful? No. Joy has nothing to do with happiness. Nothing to do with it. If you don't have, things will make you happy, but that's not joy. That's just something making you happy. But you'll have joy in your spirit if you ain't got a dime, as long as Jesus is the Lord of your life.
Well, I mean, to use an example of happiness, if someone's a smoker and they run out of cigarettes and someone says, here's a pack, you're happy.
They're happy. They would be happy. But on the same note, if somebody was given a Harley Davidson, they'd be happy.
Right.
But that's not joy. That's just happiness. And the Bible said God gave you everything richly to enjoy. Richly to enjoy. People say this. Watch this, Steve. People will say, I love my new car. No, you don't. You don't love your new car. Your car can't love you back. Why are you attaching the force of love himself to a piece of metal?
Yeah.
You're enjoying your new car, but you love God and you love your family, but you're enjoying the car. So don't say, I love a material thing. See, Satan's got you in desire, quietness, and you're trying to fight from that state, and you can't resist him. Now, where does these bad thoughts come from? And let me finish this, and then we'll jump on this other. But love, you say, well, how do I get out of desire and get into love? Well, to start with, you should be able to quote the love verses.
Yeah. 1 Corinthians 13, right?
Yeah, 4 through 8.
Yeah.
You should be able to know those, because that's what love is. Love endures long, is patient and kind, it's never envious, it don't boil over with jealousy, it's not boastful, vainglorious, it does not display itself haughtily, it's not conceited, arrogant, or inflated with pride, it's not rude and unmannerly, it does not act unbecomingly, and on it goes. So you've got all of this is love. Well, that has nothing to do with desire. That's love. So start knowing what love is. Love gives. Love is what God did when he gave Jesus. Love is what he unconditionally loves you.
Yeah.
And then you won't fulfill the desires of the flesh.
I before we go into that next section, I really want to drill down if I can do that. And you said if the devil's not running in terror, you've not resisted him.
That's right.
And if someone's a seer, they can watch the enemy run. I'm not particularly a seer. I've seen some things, but I mean, so how will I know that I've resisted to the point of the enemy fleeing? And what does that look like or feel like? And how do I get there if I'm not there?
Okay, I'm going to ask you this. If you had something wrong with your finger and suddenly it got healed, how would you know it got healed?
Stop hurting.
That's right. So how do you know the devil has flee from you? You got victory over that area. You got victory over it. And that note of victory came, and you know, bless God, I won that. That's done now in my life. You resisted him, and he took off running from you as in terror.
So it's going to look like this. He's harassing you, and you're feeling harassed, and you're saying, this is not the will of God. He can take it.
Right.
We had a children's song, if the devil doesn't like it, he can sit on attack. We had one of those.
That's right.
And so you just resist and say, I'm not going there. I'm not feeling sorry for it. And eventually, all of a sudden, it lifts. Is that what you're saying?
You've got to do that, but you've got to get in the spirit to do it. You cannot resist him in the byproducts of the fruit of the Spirit.
Okay.
You've got to be in the Spirit to do that. He's a spirit being, but he operates in a flesh world, and he blurs the lines between the two.
Okay.